So I heard you like crying. It's just time. It's time. And these are the Modhouse Tungsten double-sided. Best girl with glasses, because. And I've lined up a couple things that, you know, if you don't know, where the fuck have you been? These. Of all the theses that have theesed, these are the most these. Ryan at Modhouse, I'll give you a brief history lesson. Modhouse started modifying, like everything else in the world, Fostex T50s, like those right there, to turn them into argons. I don't know how many years ago that even started. You can go check out the news blog. And everyone did that. Mr. Speakers did that. ZMF did that. That's how they all started. It was take the Fostex T50, which are relatively affordable, the little tiny square planar, and then rip them apart and do things to them. And everybody tried, and a bunch of companies like ZMF, like fucking Mr. Speakers, who's now Dan Clark, all those companies had success. But if you lined up every modified T50 in the existence of the world, including some that were just individual one-offs I got sent, none of them compared to argon. And I'm still talking about the T50 argons as a mod for the T50 fucking Fostex. The T60s, which are somewhere, blew the 50s away as far as I was concerned. And the story of Modhouse stops there for many years because Ryan at Modhouse never really charged what it should have. And I hate to be the guy on the internet who's always Mr. Cheap, but then says, well, people should have charged more money. But it came down to, like, there's a supply and demand, and I don't know a single human being that didn't want argons when they were the only thing available. Like, we're talking 8-9 month backlogs to order a $450 pair of headphones. If we would have made them $600, that maybe wouldn't have been 9 months. It would have been only the really dedicated people and drop it down to like 3 months. And then it would have continued on and he would have made the same amount of money, just with less work. Fast forward to a couple, 2 years ago now, California, SoCal, he had I actually found a picture of it recently, of the tungsten prototype. Like super prototype, like it was a shitty headband that he ordered from China, and it was like weird 3D printed cups that were ugly and gray. And I listened to it and I went, That was I love Ryan at Modhouse. I've known him forever. He's not too far away. He's like 2.5 hours away from me here in Pennsylvania. And I listened to those headphones at the table first, and I was like, you know what, Ryan? Keep working on it. And then we fast forward, and if you've seen my other review, because there is a single-sided tungsten, which just has one-side magnets instead of two. I think I told this story. I think I went over it and went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He brought the single-sided tungsten to Capital Audio Fest 2 or 3 Capital Audio Fests ago. God, time just flies by. And that was when I had the moment, the fees moment. And so let's fast forward now from the introduction of that to the launch, to the sales, to the single-sided moving to a double-sided. You have the option for both, $1,500 or $2,000. $2,000. They should be $4,000. Because guess where we are again? 8-month backlog. He didn't charge. Like, I fucking love Ryan. And I love people who want to get the audio in your hands. Like now. Like for free. But then they realize, oh shit, I have kids and I want to pay taxes and, all that sort of stuff. The single-sided tungsten is a little more, I'm gonna air quotes this because this is very personal, fun, where the double-sided tungsten is the best headphone in the world. Yes, I could see the Sesfara unveiled sitting on the fridge over there. The double-sided tungsten is the best headphone in the world. So now I have to define best. I'm gonna call this out, and you could all correct me in the comments because I fucking know you will. Best to me means I'm the most interested in hearing this on this. If I make that connection more than I do with, say, I don't know, the Thigh Audio, what the fuck were you? Those planars. or the Philips X3s, or what the hell do we have over HD 800 or HD 800? Like, oh, I kind of want to hear this song, and then I forget about it. Or I kind of want to hear this song, and then I forget about it. Tungsten becomes your audio obsession. There are different audio groups, and I'm in chats for all of them. There is an Eris chat for people who are just like, you know what? I want the most bass out of my headphone. I want it super easy to drive. I want a semi-close. Perfect. Here's your headphone. $250, self-promotion, done. There are people who are into tubes, strictly just tubes. There's a tube chat. And all they talk about is the different tube amps and the different tubes they put in the tube amps. And that's its whole own section. There are obviously vinyl people we call them vinyl people, who just melt records down to wear them like armor. They actually don't. They would respect their records too much to melt them down. But that's a whole subsection. You don't say I'm into audio. And by the way, there's a little dab of records or vinyl. You're all of it. People are all of it into tubes. People are all of it into vinyl. And you know what? I'm in a tungsten chat where people are all of it just into tungsten. This has become their religion. And I sit here amongst the wall, and you do see there's my single-sided tungsten over there, which is an older version, so it's actually 5 dB harder to drive than this. So it's there sort of just like a museum piece. It's like, well, in World War I, we used this to fight, oppression. We wouldn't whip that out anymore, although I have, and it still sounds amazing. But, one of the reasons Valencia exists is because of tungsten. This has inspired more things in the audio space than I think any other headphone has. And it's only sold a few hundred. I think he's got like 220 in the wild or something. They're not abundant. They're not thousands of them out there. There's just a handful. And all right, it's called Modhouse for a reason. I'm going to state right now at the beginning of this video, these are modified. And you would think, well, Zeos, if you're paying $2,000 for a headphone, why would you want to have to modify it? And you don't have to modify anything. You can leave every headphone stock. But the whole spirit of Modhouse was incremental, slight modification improvements to existing headphones. And Ryan is no different, because when he gets his own headphone and it's done, he's like, oh, hey, I made new pads for it. Oh, hey, I made new pads for it. Oh, hey, I made new pads for it. Every one of these Ryan sent to me, it was like, hey, I made new pads for it. I think I like change a thing. And they just pop, and then you just pop, and that's it. A little brief, which orientation is this? Let's go over the headphone itself, because I know I'm just waxing lyrical about the concept of the Church of Tungsten. The build. Most of this is American. I know you see this spring headband here? Yeah, that's forged in Ryan's garage in a forge he handmade. So every one of the spring steel tops goes into an oven and he cooks it to make it springy, the correct amount of springiness. That's him doing that. These other parts are professionally printed. These are actually 3D printed parts. You'd never fucking know. You'd never know. We're at that level of like, well, I'm not paying $2,000 for a printed headphone. You fucking are. You fucking are. Because on top of cat screaming, on top of him forging his own headbands, custom ordering all these bits were impossible to find like American without getting like $1 billion and being crap. So these you could order custom. The cap colors you could get custom. The backs. So this was a set. I think DMS said, hey, you got to print these out and use these on there because it allows a little more air move. So everyone's got their own little mod. And then these were the original steel plates for the side. And every steel back of tungsten comes with wood underneath it so that the driver isn't firing into steel. It's firing into wood with the screen on it so that it softens the backside. And then Skedra, who makes the Viking Weave cables, is like, hey, man, you got to try this thing I modeled, where he modeled this, or he got the model from Ryan for this. And then you can 3D print a soft, flexible, I forget, PTU or whatever the insert is, that is little waveguides that perfectly fit this design. And those are in here, and you could just barely see them behind that. I wasn't going to pull up the side. But once I put those in, my screws were too short and I couldn't put the steel back on. So now this is just wood with a 3D printed soft thing on the bottom of it. And you know what? That isn't It's not far enough away from the original double-sided tungsten to be like, oh, my set is so much better and I shouldn't review it to compare. This is all easy shit, number one. Number two, the heart of what makes tungsten make me cry constantly is still there. Remember I was talking about the build? Okay, back to the build. Cups, pads, huge, like huge. And then you get this geometry. And I don't know how Ryan from Modhouse happens to know how the human skull works better than fucking Hi-Fi-Man. And, well, Abyss is finally catching up. I have the Joel here, by the way. But most of these headphones in this wall, no matter how light they are, and these aren't super light, they've got some girth to them with the dual magnets and everything. These are the most comfortable. And they don't look stupid when you're wearing them, because when you stretch it over your head, you get this comfort strap, which, by the way, is just fucking beautiful. But look how far it doesn't stick up over your head like a big, dumb fucking arch. And then the wires in the back, like they insert up, and I have done it wrong where you can put it to the side, so be careful. But they just, and by the way, did I mention it comes with a fucking Viking weave cable? So Skedger in the UK making the cable, which I think you can order it with the 4.4, but it's like $25 extra. And, okay, these feel like the realest of headphones. Don't think of them as like, oh, some guy's just modding these together. No. These are $2,000, and if it was just on a build standpoint, it would be at the line of like, okay, I could see it. It all works. You can never put them down and they stay. They always like flop over and they look like that. Like you could put them down, you could lay them flat. What is the sound signature of tungsten? There's enough people in this channel who follow me and I know watch these videos and who are watching it intently right now. Pause the video right this second, go down into the comments, and please tell me what the sound signature is of tungsten. Single-sided or double-sided, I don't care. What is it? Because that's a question people are going to ask if they've never heard of this headphone before, and then they know what a sound signature is. A lot of times, that isn't the thing. What is the sound signature of tungsten? Are you paused? You doing it? Write it. Go. Come on, I'll give you a second. Okay. Have you unpaused? Because now it's my turn to decide what the sound signature of tungsten is. And I don't fucking know what it is. I'm actually interested to read the comments because I put these on with whatever pads they have and whatever mods you've put in them and whatever wire you decide to change it out to. Magia cable available in the description. What is my purple Magia cable around here? There's one on the fucking Susvara because I got to help it. Put these on, and I'm currently running them off a portable solution. I'm not going to say a portable device because there are no portable devices that perfectly run tungsten. These are our 150 ohm planar. That's first of all fucking weird and rare because planars are usually like in the 20s. High teens to the low 20s, which is like cold weather. That's what a planar usually is. Maybe you get like a 32 ohm planar, it's a lot. These are an inefficient, high impedance planar with the drivers, in case you didn't notice, made out of gold, but not any gold, because I spoke to Ryan while he was developing this, because I was super fucking jazzed after I heard them. He went through German, Japanese, and Italian gold, the axis power of gold. And the German couldn't get consistency right somehow. The Japanese just didn't do it for him as far as conductivity or the ability to stick to the mylar or whatever. And the Italian gold was just right. So these are using British-made drivers. The drivers themselves are made by a company in the UK using Italian gold, and then everything else is assembled here in America and built in America, except for the wire, which is obviously also British. This is a community headphone. This is what people dream of when they start the hobby and like, I just want to put together a beautiful headphone using the best parts available. Back to the sound signature. There is none. If I put these on and I put on my portable solution here, come on, fingerprint, unlock. And now I've broken foobar. Let's put on, I was legit crying to that maiden. If you're not an anime weeaboo and all of this offends you, for the splittest of seconds, go listen to Kevin Penkin's soundtrack for Made in Abyss. M-A-D-E in Abyss. Because, you know, with fucking anime, it could be a Made in Abyss, like Occupy Made War. Go listen to his soundtrack. You don't have to have seen a single frame of animation in your life. In fact, here, I'll do it for you. I apologize to anyone who's already heard this. Alexa, play Made in Abyss soundtrack. I could also have done that for Siri or for any number of things, but I'm sorry. Have you dealt with it? Have you dealt with my fuckery? I'm sorry for the fuckery. But for so long. Okay, remember when I started ranting about you don't buy a portable thing, you have to build a solution? Because there are literally nothing that can push a tungsten properly portable. And even this won't do it. There's some weird trend going on when you either have to have Valencia, which is a $2,000 dedicated headphone power amplifier to run tungsten, or get lucky and find like a $50 Duke Audio U3 with the 1/4-inch jack and then the little knob, and then you plug it in and you have to get a battery pack because this thing runs off of 5 volts, so you can run off a battery pack just like this, and then this will run tungsten, but it'll never... Right. By the way, this is the Modhouse Tone 2 with the headphone out, being powered off a battery pack with a little Bluetooth adapter in there that they made, which I forget the name of it, but the Modhouse did it. And this is maxed out on high gain. And the reason I like this solution, even though it's not loud, like I'm maxed, it's probably like 6 or 7 dB quieter than I normally listen to, is it maintains the low end. The biggest issue around tungsten, because I haven't even gotten to like the greats. Don't fucking worry about it. But the biggest issue around tungsten is how do you power tungsten? How you do that? Because 150 ohm planars, hard. Low efficiency, hard. And you can make tungsten loud on cheap units, but they're not right. The goal of this video is to explain the difficulty, and this is not a secondary re-review of the Valencia, but the goal that keeps the tungsten chat going. The reason I have not 1, but 2 dedicated I probably have 130 pounds on the other side of my basement of amps and preamps and tube amps from Greece, to try to make tungsten complete. Many other headphones here on this wall, you could say, I have this, and someone will tell you, the perfect combination is this, and you're good. And there'll be an argument, I prefer it on this or that. Tungsten exists, and therefore people lose their fucking mind when it comes to powering them, including me. Do you remember I did that review not too long ago of the TT amp, but by the German, but Thomas, the Thomas and is the TT amp, which was the full rack mount, like 150 watt per channel amp. And then I'm in the chat and the guy from Double Helix is in there. If you don't know Double Helix cable, and he says, hey, I'll gift you the wire to run tungsten if you buy a second amp. So I bought a second fucking giant I monoblocked these 2 TT amps with the big toroidal transformers, and I plugged in the wire from Double Helix with the locking connectors, and I plugged tungsten into it, and then I got a Black Ice F360 with the tube pre, and so I got a stack this fucking big just for this headphone. Just can't run anything else on it. So much power. Just for this headphone. And across from that is a setup I made, where I have the Toxaritas devices, Achilles, the 8 watt per channel speaker tube monoblocks with an adapter wire. Also happens to be by Double Helix, but I had that from him from years ago. And then I stuck the fucking Sparkos Gemini on top, the tube hybrid pre, to control them. And then that was feeding off whatever DAC was on my desk. And so that became the best way I've ever heard tungsten. It's just been back and forth and back and fucking forth. And that's all that matters. This is not just a headphone. This is a hobby amongst itself. You plug this in and you listen to it on something. In fact, I'm going to have to report back. We're going to stop the phone and this, and I could probably just unplug you go sleep because this isn't designed to. Anyway, I brought this down, the Aoun X1S GT. This was living on my desk upstairs, my actual office desk. Not where things go to die, where things go to get used. And I'm retiring this from my desk because, well, I put one of the Rebel amps up there. Now I have Valencia on a Rebel amp, but it's a whole new ball game. But I brought this down here and I hook it up and I'm putting on the John Wick in my mind. And I'm like, okay, no high-low gain, no nothing. And if I max this out, Tungsten almost sounds perfect on it. Almost. This is like a $320 unit. This has got the audio clock in it. We're still not at the volume, though. Like, this is not... That's not as loud as I'd like Tungsten to play, but it's all about maintaining the integrity of the sound. But Zeos, you haven't said what it sounds like yet. Fuck you. I don't want to say that to my audience, because obviously people have an unsubscribe button they could hit at any fucking point. But to describe Tungsten, it's like if you took a sum average of every good headphone. Not every headphone, sum average would be meh. This is like the finest caviar with the French bread, with the fucking eggs from like rural Kentucky where the chickens only eat other chickens because that's the best way to do it. And if you made a sandwich out of that, what did I start with? I forgot what I started with, but let's put wine in there too. I don't know. It's a conglomeration of what every headphone wishes it fucking sounds like. Do you want a headphone with bass? These can have that if you source it right, and feel free to EQ it. Do you want a headphone with space? There are wider, more soundstagey headphones than this, but this is what you wish your headphone with space sounded like. Vocal clarity, image separation. It's just a whole different... It's like walking in... It's like if you have speakers in a hotel room and you go to that one room that's actually been treated for sound, and it's like you walk in there and there's no echo and reverb, and they put on music and it's like, oh my God, all these other rooms have been shit. I'm just going to stay in this room. That's Tungsten. And the issue you are then faced with, it's like you're about to head across the desert. You get this pair of headphones and you're in this beautiful little oasis. But you know what? We're about to head out into nothingness. I hope you know what amplifier you're going to use. That's the one thing, if I'm recommending Tungsten, is, well, what amps do you have? And are you willing to spend as much or more on amplifiers as you do on these headphones? Because it isn't just about hard to drive. It isn't just about power. One of the reasons Valencia exists is not because, I just need a lot of power. I have 17 watt per channel. Fucking Topping made one. It's the same watt. By the way, this is now upgraded to 17 watts per channel at 32 ohm. And that probably means it's around 4 watts into 150 ohm, which for Tungsten is plenty. But like, I don't think a single headphone I've ever reviewed, and maybe ever will review, has brought me to tears as often or as hard as Tungsten has. $1,000 tube hybrid, I'm assuming. Max gain, max volume. Now we've reached where I like to play these. Like, not blisteringly loud where my ears are melting off, but yeah, I want to feel it in my chest. Max gain, max volume, $1,000 tube hybrid. I mean, you could obviously run it lower than that, but if a song gets quiet, you're SOL. Again, one of the reasons why Valencia exists. Why the pictures of it and all the professional pictures, I loan them the fucking Tungsten. You gotta know. But if let's say 80 out of 99. This is still too Sunday. 90. And now we got to talk about, well, what kind of sound do you want to feed into Tungsten? Now, single-sided, I said, was more fun. And I think that's true. I think it has it's a little bit not as flat. It's just got a little more bass to it, a little more. And I love bass. I love a little more fun. And the mid-range is still there. It's fucking still tungsten. Single-sided is still tungsten. But the thing about the double-sided, and the reason I recommend it usually wholeheartedly over the single-sided, is because it's so linear and flat, like the horizon on the ocean. No reference to the SJY horizon, which, by the way, is behind me and still amazing. But tungsten sits there. Double-sided tungsten sits there. And at once, it dreams of being this neutral flat headphone. And I will not allow it. And no one in the chat will allow it. That is, imagine if you were buying canvas to paint on. And your options were flat white, and it's all up to you and your art skill. Or slightly dirty canvas. Maybe this one's got a little tint on it, a little brown on the bottom, and you've got to work around it. And for some reason, it makes all your art sound better. That was a terrible analogy. Delete that one. But from your heads, I'm not going to delete the edit the video. Tungsten loves, just like HD 600s love, when you take that flat, neutral, neural response and you fuck with it. Whether it's Class A or tube hybrids or tubes, like straight tubes, like fucking speaker amp tubes, Tungsten adores being fucked with. All right? It just wants you to the best, and I'm gonna state this right now so I can link Black Ice in the description. And if you've ever been to a show where Ryan is presenting on a table, there's usually a Black Ice Fusion F35, which is Black Ice's 35 watt per channel speaker tube amp, is what Ryan from Modhouse listens to his Tungsten on and displays them on. Because yes, you can go dead linear, but they love when you just, because it can express this, like, whatever the sound is. Again, now we're back to, we put this gain on low so I don't plug in anything later and blow things up. We're back to Valencia again with flat, neutral, pass-through transparency and 17 watts a channel. One of the reasons I wanted this is because the best I've ever heard Tungsten was in the Black Ice room at Capital Audio Fest last year, not 2025's Capital Audio Fest, or 2020, that was 2024's? It was 2023's Capital Audio Fest. Black Ice had their room set up. They had their tube DAC, the F360, and an FX35 with modified tubes. 3 very wonky devices. Devices not intended to present the flattest, smoothest, most neutral sound. We plugged Tungsten into that. And it was me and Ryan from Modhouse, and we were there with Jamie from Black Ice, and we were like set up time where it was after the show closed or right before the show opened, and we had his headphone plugged into the fucking speaker adapter box that Ryan carries around and plugged into those 3 tube devices from Black Ice. And you couldn't tell if it was the headphones playing or the speakers playing. That's the level of fuckery that you could inject into the signal chain for Tungsten, and it just eats it up. It actually became an auditory hallucination headphone. And I've tried that's why the Toxaritas devices got pulled out, because I was like, I have tube speaker amps. Hold on. And I can get close, but I've never gotten all the way there. And Valencia helps, because now I have guaranteed power to run this will run. This will run, no problems, end of the day, just whatever. And I've been just swapping sources. If you didn't see my review of Valencia, which is my new collab with Orchard Audio, the speaker manufacturer mostly in New Jersey, a speaker amp manufacturer. The goal was I wanted the end result here, but I want to still have all the source gear, like crazy Black Ice tube shit, or the Sparkos Gemini, or the Shelly Arkle 3 Pros, which do that weird sound thing they do. I probably unplug that. I wanted this. I gotta put the gain up. And now we'll make the adaptation go. We'll adapt it just to double check that this. Oh my God, no. The distortion when you try to make that go is no. But there you go. In other words, Tungsten if Tungsten was easy to drive, if it was a 30 ohm planar and the efficiency was high, I don't think it would be as special. It would probably still grant itself to need a chat specifically for people talking about how to power tungsten, but it wouldn't be as like, it's like Made in Abyss, where this fucking hole, if you don't know the story of Made in Abyss, I'll try to sell you on the anime too. There's a hole on an island in the middle of fucking nowhere in a fantasy land where it's like, what's the equivalent fucking year? Like 1820. Let's just go with that, because there's no motorized cars or anything, a lot of steam shit, steampunk. There's just a hole. A big hole, like 2 miles across, that you could see the whole town was built around it because people want to go down and explore. Tungsten is in the bottom of that hole. The ultimate tungsten sound is at the bottom of the hole in Made in Abyss. And for people who know what that show is like, you're just shaking your fucking heads right now. It's the curiosity that keeps people going with this headphone. Because I've had it now for over a year. I'd never done the review, because I wanted to wait till I heard the end sound. And after all of this, after having my own collaboration amplifier built specifically in mind for tungsten, I still don't think we're here. We're on like the 4th level of unknown amounts of levels down into the abyss that is tungsten. And I only recently started doing this combination where it's like, oh, this, but I'm going to, oh man, the bass is so punchy and, oh my, what? Like, oh, I might die tomorrow or in 35 or 55 or 105 years, depending on how medical technology advances. And if they can make artificial salt that doesn't taste like doesn't kill me like salt will kill. Point is, I don't think I could wait another year, and then after that, I know that I've heard the final result of tungsten. It is an endless depth of I can get more, I can get more, I can get more, I can get more. I know I can get more. What if I change the tubes? Then I can get more, and I can get more. But you're so far ahead of all, and I mean this, all other headphones from a wild, like, clarity and engagement perspective, that it's its own fucking hobby. It's one of the only headphones. I think Eris could kind of count as its own hobby, because it's so far removed in like just a fun bass, weird phase soundstage thing. And there's an entire chat for that. And people for Eris aren't worried about the amplification. They're more like, oh, you got to hear this song. Oh, you got to hear this song. Oh, you got to hear this song. And I'm super proud that is the way that Eris has gone, is that the people who enjoy it just plug it into whatever. And then it's about the music. Tungsten, while also being about the music, because people are like, have you heard this on Tungsten? Have you heard this on Tungsten? But it's also like, have you heard this on Tungsten? But on an SMSL DO400 being preamped by the fucking Mk2 T832, but only that when you're using it with this particular curve, it's like, holy shit. There are only 250 tungstens currently, or whatever there is right now, sold. I can almost guarantee you maybe 10% of them are on the same source thing, because I'm in the tungsten chat and I know. A lot of people are on the TTMs, the big double dual mono blocks with hanging on their walls of their offices, because they're fucking 60 pounds of amps for one headphone. You got to put them out of the way. But everybody else has this unique setup, and every setup, I guarantee you, sounds different. So look at me. Look at me. I've got these new pads, the new pads that he put out. I've got the inserts. I've got Valencia, which people are starting to pre-order. Thank you for everyone who pre-ordered that. On an Arcul 3 Pro. This combo doesn't exist anywhere in the world. And while I think it might be a unique sound, everyone is going to, no matter who buys this, you're going to get a tungsten and you're going to be like, oh, how does mine sound today? Oh, well, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. You're going to try things. You're just going to. It brings back, if you have lost the joy of experimentation and discovery, this is one way to do it. Problem being, it costs you $2,000 just to get in, and then everything else is extra. Yes, you can go out and get $125 Codis Tone 2 and plug it in USB to your machine, and it will run tungsten to the point where it will be sold to you. It's pretty amazing when a headphone can be playing at 10 dB off of where like it should be. Like, shuffle. Like, this is where it should be. Hold on. That's from Hook. That's The Ultimate War from Hook with Robin Williams. I could play that 10 dB quieter, and if you're listening to Tungsten, you will know, even at a whisper, oh my God, this is a special headphone. This has something. This is more than the other headphones I've heard today. Imanis is a meme. I love the guys from Rawl. And, the original flappy head one was like, it's kind of interesting, see what you're going with. And then Imanis shows up and it's like, triple Imanis, $10,000. And it's like, I've heard it multiple times. I've heard it on $100,000 amplifiers, $100,000 tube amps. And Imanis is good. If you said I could have Imanis for free for the rest of my life and I could never have to pay for it, but I can only listen to Imanis, or I can listen to Tungsten double-sided on whatever amps I want for the rest of my life, it's fucking from a comfort standpoint alone, it would be Tungsten. And from a discovery standpoint, it would be Tungsten. It would always be Tungsten. It is. It is the GOAT. And I mean that. It's not like, it's the GOAT, and the next week I'll say, no, this is the GOAT. I say that a lot. People always judge me pretty harshly for liking everything. Number one, you haven't seen it all, because I don't like everything, but I want to give everything a chance. This is music. We're here to listen to music. It's a good time. And it's usually not like life or death. If you don't agree with my opinion on how something sounds, I didn't kill you. I didn't stab your baby brother in the face with what's those things that hold corn on the cobs? I didn't do that. If you blew money on things that it was my recommendation that caused you to do that and you're down, $200 for a thing, I apologize. We don't have the same sound signature. You got to just feel it out. Where's I going with this? I don't know. Something just stab the corn thing stab. This is, I was saying that I like things and people judge me harshly for liking everything. I start off every review. The part one is it comfortable? Because if it ain't, you're in the bad section already. You're in like all right, maybe I'll recommend you, but you're uncomfortable. This is almost a flawless headphone. The price isn't so high that a normal person couldn't save up for a summer. If you work a real job and you get paid like $60,000, $70,000 a year and you put away $100 a month, it would only take you 2 fucking years to save up for these headphones. All right? But the problem comes with then after you get them, it's like, oh, God. I want everyone to have a pair, but at the same point, I think that would ruin a lot of other headphones. Just from existing. Its existence threatens every other headphone on the planet. Period. It's scary out there. Keep an eye on yourself, Ryan. I don't know who's sending assassins. I don't suck dicks as hard for any other headphone. Tungsten gets maximum level dick suck from me, from everyone who's talked about it. And when you go to Munich, or when you go to any audio show, here you want to know let me have some more coffee because obviously I'm falling asleep. Oh, that's trash taste. I don't think I've ever been to an audio show, whether it's a 2-channel show or Can Jam, whether it's in SoCal or Munich or London. I don't think I've been to any of those since Tungsten launched where someone hasn't brought a Tungsten as their reference set for the amps or just to show off. They don't even give a shit about what's happening there. It becomes a Tungsten meet immediately. The MH Modhouse just becomes that. Also, there's now carbon fiber backs that are $200 extra. And I might throw some money at Ryan and be like, I'm going to try those on here. I'm just going to stop talking now because there's a sound demo from Modhouse, double-sided Tungsten. If you're a patron of mine, I did recently do a bunch of sound demos. And I did the Modhouse double-sided, I think, last time. Or I do it this time because Valencia exists. And it actually becomes feasible. The problem with Tungsten was previously, when it launched, it was a pretty infeasible headphone. You had to find some, even the man who made them has a hard time powering them. That's got to say something to you about like the difficulty of getting it just right. And all the tweaks and adjustments and things people make is to try to find that final sound. But even the creator hasn't found the final sound. And it's up to people like me and working with Leo at Orchard Audio, and it's up to the people that are buying all these TTMs. It's up to the experimentation. We're all just on the hunt for the end times of sound. And I just keep on trucking, Ryan. I wish he could find quality. I don't know if he's interested in like finding like an actual assistant to help him put these together, because a lot of the stuff he's still assembling by hand, one at a time. That's why you have an 8-month waiting period. It isn't like some factory somewhere says, I'll put this shit together. Ryan, in person, inspects everything. He listens, he driver matches, he does all the shit. So that's why I think, honestly, $2,000 is undercharging when most big companies are like, $2,000 headphone. Yeah, Hyphenman's got a button they press, and China just shits out headphones. Like, these are a work of art, and not just their shape, and not just the effort to put them together. They're a work of art in how they make your music more. And not through having a bump in the low end or it's got a little bit of an exciting treble peak and therefore that's why people like it. It's an entire package deal. This is the package deal end game headphone for most people who I know who can afford to buy end game headphones. That's the realness of it. It isn't like, oh, this is a Ship 9500s end game. If you have no money to spend, you're done. This is the end game headphone for a lot of people who have. Elon Musk comes to me and asks me, we all hate on Elon, so, but if, I don't know, Bill fucking Gates, who's retired, and he's just like, it's fine. It's like COVID, I called it. Bill Gates is like, hey, I have $1 million to spend on 3 headphones. It's HE1 because he has the fucking money. It's tungsten. Not because he has $1 million, but because it's legitimately like next down from Sennheiser HE1 $70,000. And then I don't know what to pick for the third one. You know what? You fill in the third recommendation. Tell me in the comments. What's your third go? Is it Meze Elite? Is it a ZMF monster? Like, what's your third? To give like the richest people in the world, people who have no budget. I'm doing HE1 because. I'm doing tungsten because. What's your third? Anyway, for those of you who made it through this fucking rant, and it's just a rant, I can't keep playing music on it. Number one, because it leaks too much. Number two, because I will actively start tearing up and cry a little bit. I made that stupid mistake of listening to Made in Abyss before, and I'm like, oh, fuck my emotions. I'm just going to sit here and cry and drink coffee. No, stop, do review. These didn't need my review. I held off. Not just because I was looking for the final sound, but because I'm tired of giving Ryan more work. So this is going to be a very odd request at the very end of this video. Don't buy tungsten double-sided. Don't. Not yet. Put it on your wish list. Go there, look at the page in the description, and be like, that's the one I'm going to get. You ain't going to get it soon. And since I run, if you're a $10 patron, there's a swap meet to buy, sell, and trade gear. And I've had that up for like 4 years. And you never leave it. Your lifetime. It's like 450 people in that thing. I think once in 4 years, I saw any tungsten show up there. And the person like lost their job, house burned down. Like there had to be a fucking Made in Abyss level tragedy in their life before tungsten went on sale. No one sells these secondhand. Any other headphone you look at, there will be a secondhand market for them. Not with Modhouse Tungsten. It just doesn't exist. Everyone who gets one, they enter that fucking chat with like 120 people in it, or they just sit there and they take off their pants and they put them on and they're done for the rest of their life. Or at least they think the rest of their life. So yeah, I'm done now with this. If you want to hear this, I'm pretty sure this video is coming out, at least to patrons, it's coming out before you will be able to see Modhouse with Tungsten and Valencia. They'll be at the Mimic table I thought he was getting his own table. He's sharing with the Mimic table at New York Can Jam. And I will be hosting a table at Expona to show off Eris and to show off Valencia. But guess what's coming along? My particular personal set of double-sided. In fact, I might even ask Ryan for another set to borrow because I don't want to take those out. Those are fucking evil. I might ask him for a second set just to use as a demo. Because showing off Valencia with Eris is like showing off the Nordschleife with a scooter. Like, no. We're showing off a 6,000 horsepower race car on a dirt track in someone's backyard. There's a big correlation of no. That's a selling point for both Valencia and Tungsten. And I will have like 4 of these and all sorts of different amps and pre-sources and things. And obviously Eris to sell. Hopefully the Linsa will get out of Chinese New Year and message me back and be like, yeah, we could send you some extra. I'm done. I'm exhausted. I was supposed to do so many reviews today, and now I had this urge. Today was the day. Today was the day. And by the way, her background matches the wood color. And I might just stain this. Like, it's not here. His original wood backs, which were just wood like that, you'd pick them up like this, and the wood cracked because it was too thin. Like, I'm part of the reasons, like, this circle is thicker, because he actually was cutting in more. But my particular set of Modhouse tungstens were just wood, and when you grabbed them here and squeezed too hard, they would crack. So I'm part of the development process because that little bit is thicker because Zeo said so. And I couldn't be more proud. That's my baby right there. That ring is my baby. And you know what the fun part of this video is? I waited so long, and there were so many people that have heard and have tungsten. You don't even need to listen to me. Go to the comments. Go past all the ones where I ask questions and go to the people who are telling me how insane tungsten is. I don't have to sell this to you. No one has to sell this to you. The momentum is already there. I'm just part of the problem now. I'm part of Ryan's fucking problem. In fact, when I'm done with this and it goes on Patreon, because Patreon, for $5 a month, you get to see reviews early, participate in yard sales, get to lossless sound demos, monthly Q&A, which I have been lax on, so maybe you have bi-monthly Q&A, and then a $10 patronage chat where you could ask Ryan Dietz from Modhouse. Is in my patronage chat, I think. If he's not, maybe I'll invite him. But you can definitely get to the tungsten chat from the $10 chat. But the point is, what was my point? Oh shit, I forgot my point. Oh, see reviews early. I'm going to probably ask Ryan from Modhouse. I'll put this video on Patreon and Subscribestar, and I'm going to be like, hey, Ryan, do you want me to not release this publicly? Because I did the Valencia video to my patrons, and 6 pre-sold. 6 $2,000 amplifiers got pre-ordered already. Done. From one little video on my Patreon. So I'm worried how many pre-orders will come, not from my Patreon. There'll probably be at least 10 or 15 people who are just holding out until this video. But if I release this video that you're watching here publicly, if you see public views, you see 1,000, 2,000 views in this video, it's come out publicly. And I worry that my man's there is just going to collapse under the stress. He is like Mappa, the studio, only there's only one of him. All right? One animator in the studio at Mappa, and he just has to animate everything. That's Ryan from Modhouse. What a fucking champ. Anyway, if he says don't release it, please, God, help, stop, then you're seeing this on Patreon forever. Just like I did with the first single-sided video. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you all for sticking around for this. I'm going to say 50... You know what? It was 52 minutes when I did the... 52 minutes. 52 minutes long. I got that feel. When I get really into it, it's like an hour. It's a fucking hour. Wallpaper available in the Wallpaper Horde. I had to give it to Wiz. She's best girl. In that show, you asked me what... The fucking entrepreneur with the big heart, I'm taking it. That's what Ryan is. He's an entrepreneur with a big heart. A real heart, not the joke. Anyway, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting Modhouse Ryan. Thank you for supporting Orchard Audio, Gishelli Labs, X2O, Own, Trash Taste Boys, fucking mouse pads at 8 posts, and the Magia cable, which isn't on my desk because I'm stupid. So I will see you all in Florida Audio Expo. If it hasn't happened yet, it's the same weekend as New York Can Jam. I'll see you all in Expona, and I will see you all in Munich for the final Munich before it moves to Austria. So we good here? Can I stop and just go back to actually listening to Helsing's OVA dog shit? Oh. Want to talk about note thickness? Let's talk about note thickness. You believe that? You believe that? I just ended the video like a half hour ago. I'm going through the swap meet with 418 people. Someone just listed tungsten, and it's got 6 of the, oh my God, shocked face. And I had to read a fucking thing. Please join the swap meet so you can sell your, look, ZMFs, I expect. You know, fucking Ferrum Hypsos, I expect. Sennheiser stuff, I expect. I don't expect tungsten. What? God damn it! Just because I feel like I need to go over the full story. So I searched my swap meet for the word tungsten. And you are supposed to, if you're in the $10 chat and you get into the swap meet, you're supposed to delete the post when something sells. But I see every post that shows up. So this person on May 3rd put out a feeler. He was going to sell his tungsten because he wanted to buy IMs because he was getting out of headphones into IMs. So that, and look, a sad crying face got a vote from me. There's only 5. The word tungsten shows up 5 times. First one, actually selling tungsten. Second one, clearing house for double-sided tungsten, selling his Meze and Purion 2s. So the word tungsten is mentioned because he's selling Meze and Purion 2s to buy tungsten. The third one is by the guy, Tom, who's the newest one who's selling it, was giving an interest check back in November. And then the fourth instance of it saying the word tungsten was Abyss Diana DZ, tungsten color thing. So yeah, and then the one where he's actually selling it now. So just in case you wanted to know how much I'm talking about it, yeah, they don't exist on the secondhand market. On to IMs.